Hello, everyone. So, today we are going to read a poem from class 11th Hornbill book, and this is my first lesson. So, here is a small attempt to explain my children a poem in their syllabus, a poem, a photograph by Shirley Tolson. Photograph. We all click pictures, we all preserve photographs. Why are photographs important to us? Yes, photograph preserve memories. And memories are important because time and tide wait for no one. Yes, human beings are woefully perishable. We get consumed with time, and yes, often our dear ones depart from this world. Death is indeed the greatest leveler, and with it, what comes into our life, what is left behind, is stillness, emptiness, and hollowness to bear with. Here, Shirley Tolson is talking about a photograph that captured one very pleasurable moment of her mother's life. She's talking about her memory associated with that photograph and memory of her mother who's now dead. And she also describes how the death of her mother leaves behind a deep, profound stillness in her life. That she is rendered short of words to describe the kind of pain that she suffers with. So let us see how the poem begins. The cardboard shows me how it was. Now, here Shirley Tolson calls this photograph a cardboard. It's an irony. Why she does not call the photograph a photograph here? Because this photograph is pasted on a cardboard. We all get our pictures framed. We all want our pictures to last for more time, and we give it a hard and durable back. So here she calls this snapshot as cardboard because indeed it is pasted on a cardboard back. The photograph has become blur, it has lost its glow and clarity over the years, and what has been left behind is the cardboard. The cardboard shows me, here me stands for Shirley Tolson. So here, this snapshot talks about a moment that was not experienced by Shirley Tolson but her mother, and about that moment, how fun-filled and how frolicsome that moment had been, all about that moment Shirley Tolson understands only from the cardboard. So the cardboard shows her how it was. It here stands for that moment of beach holiday. Now we all go on a beach, and what do we usually do on a beach? We make sand homes, we go paddling. Paddling here stands for walking bare feet in shallow water. When you walk with your feet bare in the shallow water and you enjoy that sand slipping through, that's paddling. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling. Now, here she learned about that beach holiday, how much fun, how much pleasure, how much happiness these girls enjoyed when they went paddling to a beach. Each one holding my mother's hands, the two girl cousins of her mother. They went to the beach holiday, and there in the snapshot, the two girl cousins stood on either side of her mother, each one holding one of her mother's hand. Now, here, mother's was the eldest of the three, and the two being younger, for sense of security, for some safety, they looked up to their eldest cousin. And so the poet's mother stood in the center, and either side of she stood the two girl cousins. She, the big girl. Now you can understand who the big girl was here. Yes, it was poet's mother, for she was the eldest of the three. Some 12 years or so. During that beach holiday, when the snapshot was clicked and later given a cardboard bag, the poet's mother was somewhat 12 years of age. All three. Three here stands for the three girls, for its mother and her two girl cousins. All three girls, they stood still, stood still. You can understand that the poetic device here is alliteration. Why it is called alliteration? Because it is repetition of same consonant sound, sir. To smile through their hair. The three girls, they stood still and they smiled through their hair that flew with the breeze. That day of beach holiday was indeed very breezy and windy. That made the girls' hair flow, and through their flowing hair, the three girls smiled and posed for the picture at the uncle who held the camera. So the uncle was not in the picture because he was the other side of the lens, and he was the one who clicked the snapshot. A sweet face, the poet. When he looked at the snapshot, she admired her mother's beauty. She admired her mother's childish innocence and her youthful grace. She calls her mother's face to be a sweet one. A sweet face, my mother's. That was before I was born. That time, the poet's mother was somewhat 12 years of age, and she possessed the childish innocence, she possessed the youthful radiance, and her face was indeed very sweet and graceful one. Along with these three girls standing still and smiling through their flowing hair, in the picture was captured the sea, which appears to have changed less. The poet, looking at the snapshot, could figure out how much change the poet's mother and her two girl cousins had undergone. But the sea that washed the feet of the three girls then did not change over the passage of time. Now, this tells us that all the elements of nature are eternal. All the elements of nature are immune to ravages of time. They do not perish. Time cannot consume them. Thus, the sea remained same, but the feet of the three girls that the sea washed are referred to as terribly transient. My dear children, the poetic device here is transferred epithet. Now, what is transferred epithet? Transferred epithet is a phrase which is made up of a noun and an adjective. And the adjective not only qualifies that one noun directly, but one other noun indirectly. So here, the feet of the three girls are said to be transient because they were temporary and they outgrew themselves with the passage of time. But here, not only the feet of the three girls were transient, but the lives of the three girls was transient in nature. Because human beings are temporary, human beings are perishable, we are mortal beings, and we perish and degenerate with time. Second stanza. Some 20-30 years later. Now, this beach holiday has happened, some 20-30 years have passed, and poet's mother, who was then 12, has now become a middle aged woman. Whenever she looked at this snapshot, she relived that fun filled moment of beach holiday. And remembering how frolicsome that day had been and how they outgrew and changed with the passage of time, she would laugh. She would comment on the way Betty, Dolly, her two girl cousins, and herself were dressed for the beach holiday. The poet says, the sea holiday was her past. Indeed, the beach holiday had happened some 20-30 years ago, so the beach holiday was the mother's past. Mine is her laughter. Having poet's mother dead, that laughter that mother gave each time she looked at the snapshot becomes the poet's memory. That laughter of her mother was music to her ears. And each time she looked at that snapshot, she did not recall that beach holiday because she had never been on that beach holiday. What she remembered was her mother's sweet laughter. And that's her memory with this snapshot. The poet brings a very bitter fact to us. She says, both rye with the labored ease of laws. Both here stands for poet and her mother. Rye means disgusted, and labored means something that requires toil. Ease means comfort. Loss means something that you've missed or have lost to time. The poet here says that both her mother and she had to toil hard, had to work really hard, put in a lot of effort to develop ease and comfort with their individual losses. It was tough for poet's mother to come to terms with the fact that her childhood had gone into the past and she could not retrace the steps of time. And the poet is also disgusted with the fact that she has lost her mother to death and that she cannot see her or relive her company again. So both had undergone individual losses, and it was indeed toilsome, hard for them to develop ease with their individual losses. Indeed, it's tough to come to terms with the losses one faces with the time progressing. Okay, last stanza. Now she'd been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. The poet says that now the mother is dead and nearly same number of years has passed as much as that girl who went on a beach holiday had lived. So somewhat 12 years have passed since she has lost her mother to death. And of this circumstance, 12 years is a great time for one to learn to move on or survive with the bereavement of a loved one, and also develop a brave front with their to survive their losses. But the poet says that of this circumstance there is still nothing that she could say at all. She has nothing to talk about her mother's death because it's silence. Now it's here stands for the poet's mother's death. She says that the silence, the stillness, the hollowness, and the emptiness that the death brings itself is something that renders the person speechless. The vacuum that is left behind when you lose a loved one is so intense that the person who's grief stricken has no word to describe how much pain, how much agony he is suffering with. The pangs of getting separated from a loved one leave a person shattered, broken, and defeated, and that person has nothing to say about that loss. So has the poet become. After having lost her dear mother to death, she has become speechless. She's short of words to describe how much pain, how much agony she suffers having lost her mother to death. And the only thing that provides her solace, comfort, and ease is her poet's mother's memory, her sweet laughter that she often heard each time her mother looked at the snapshot. Okay, I hope this lesson helps you a little and it gives you a little idea what's there in the poem A Photograph. Thank you. So this session will be followed by another lesson which will tell you about the question answers and the key highlights that often come in the form of question answers in exams.